Welcome into this edition of ACAP Today for the week of July 11th, 2022. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this edition of ACAP Today, we're going to speak with a return guest, Brandi Perry, an ACAP Community Educator, about our Restorative Practices Program and specifically the work that they're doing in schools across Aroostook County and beyond. So we're going to have that conversation with Brandi in just a few moments. But before we do that, we're first going to get to the news and information that you can use again for the week of July 11th, 2022. And we start with it being potato blossom time, one of the most beautiful times in Aroostook County throughout the year. This is actually what you're seeing here is ACAP's 50th anniversary potato plot up in St. John Plantation, a photo that was taken last week by our official potato plot photographer, Don Raymond, who's been capturing the growth of the field every couple of weeks or so. But we wanted to sort of start here because it is the week that we are celebrating Maine's potato industry, and the celebrations are underway in Fort Fairfield and will continue and culminate this weekend in Fort Fairfield. And as part of that, we wanted to sort of let you know that we are going to be part of that festival. In addition to some of the work that our prevention team and other team members are doing there, we will be announcing the winner of the potato 50th anniversary potato plot potato bag design contest on the reviewing stand at the Potato Blossom Festival parade at 1 o'clock on Saturday, July 16th. We received a total of 15 entries from artists across Aroostook County, a great diversity of ages and communities where folks were from, and some wonderful pieces of art. And we're very excited. The judges are reviewing the entries this week, and we will have the winner unveiled again at the Potato Blossom Festival parade on Saturday, I should say, at 1 o'clock, just before the parade hits downtown Fort Fairfield. And we're excited about that, and we'll look forward to seeing many of you join in that celebration on this Saturday. We also want to and Brandi Perry, our guest, is in one of these photos here, but just to let you know that our team members are spanning the county this summer with information about all of our programs and services. We're at more than a dozen community and summer festivals, shots here from the recent Thursdays on Sweden Street in Caribou, as well as the Hope and Justice Project's Community Resource Fair. So if you see us out and about, make sure you connect with our team and stop by and say hello and check out the services that we offer. We've also had some great giveaways at some of these events, and we really very much look forward to catching up with you on the streets of our communities in the coming weeks as Aroostook County continues to celebrate community festivals and events. We are also at those community events talking about our ACAP Summer Scavenger Hunt. It's a really interesting and fun game that involves downloading an app onto your mobile device powered by Goose Chase. And there are 50 missions to complete throughout the summer. Don't be daunted by the fact that if you haven't signed up and started them yet, you have plenty of time to complete them. They run through the 10th of August, and most people are able to check off a number of them relatively quickly. But it really encourages you to learn more about Aroostook County, learn a little bit more about our agency, and also do a number of things and take a selfie of yourself to gain points. And there's an interactive leaderboard. We had the conversation last week with a number of guests about the ACAP Summer Scavenger Hunt. We're really excited about how we're connecting with folks through this game. So please do, if you haven't already, consider downloading it through your Apple Store or Google Play. We are also available to help with that downloading process. And if you see us out and about at summer festivals and have your mobile phone on you, we have an instruction sheet available, and we can certainly help get you all hooked up with the ACAP Summer Scavenger Hunt on Goose Chase. We also wanted to share with you that our strategic plan, as we've been announcing, has recently been released to the public. It is available on ACAP's website. It looks just like the cover of this document looks just like what you're seeing there. And in addition to that, what you're seeing are the 5 areas of focus that we have identified in our 2022 through 2027 strategic plan. We invite one and all to go to the publications and news section of our website and to get a copy. If you are unable to do that or prefer to have a paper copy, give us a call here at the agency at 768-3721, and we'll gladly print one and get a copy of this document to you. We also wanted to share with you that recently in our Tax Palooza at the tail end of June, just before heading into the 4th of July holiday weekend, our agency was able to process over 200 tax returns, mostly from senior citizens, who regularly don't file taxes to be able to help them access the $850 relief checks. We actually have had requests from over 2,200 seniors across Aroostook County for appointments and have processed a number of those. Still are working toward processing those, but don't worry. You have until October 31st if you want to sign up to have your taxes done to access this benefit, to have your taxes completed. So we're still taking names, and certainly encourage you to give us a call here at the agency at 764-3721. If you are a senior or disabled individual and don't regularly have your state of Maine income taxes filed, we can help you with that to help you access that $850 relief check, as well as most people who come and have their taxes done get an additional return above and beyond the $850. So it's certainly well worth your while if you haven't filed your taxes yet. And as we just heard in the media recently, the $850 will not be counted against folks who would have their taxes filed in a subsequent year, either federal or state income taxes. So this is done as a partnership with the Cash Coalition. Our lowball estimate right now is on the $850 relief checks alone. The number of seniors we're able to help will have brought an additional $1.7 million into the pockets of some very vulnerable residents here in Aroostook County. So if you are among the folks who have not filed your state income taxes and would otherwise not receive this $850 relief check, we encourage you to reach out to us. We are also pleased to announce that this Wednesday, is the first of our summer into fall farmers markets that we hold here at the Aroostook County Action Program at our 771 Main Street location right near Walmart, in partnership, obviously, and in leadership through our Women, Infant, and Children's, or WIC program. They offer not free, sorry, it's for purchase, but WIC customers can use their WIC cards to do that. Locally grown produce, healthy recipes, we also offer those. Free giveaways and community connections to other resources and services. The farmers market runs from 9 to 4 p.m. Again, it starts this Wednesday, July 13th is the first one. We'll be back on the 28th. The 4th, 17th, and 29th of August, and the 8th and 14th of September on those days at the 771 Main Street office. It is available, obviously, for WIC customers of ACAP, but it's also open to the general public as well. So if you see the Gons farm truck or other farmers on site at ACAP on any of these days, please feel free to stop by and purchase the fresh produce. It is a public service that we offer not only to WIC customers. Speaking of WIC and formula benefits, there's still a lot of concern nationwide about the shortage of formula. If your usual formula is on the shelf, it's not part of a recall, which is the good news there. So you can feel safe in buying that. Typically, WIC benefits cover what's called the Similac brand of formula. If you aren't sure which formulas are approved and right for you, contact us here at ACAP, and our WIC team can certainly help walk you through that. We certainly invite you, if you are not part of our WIC program, to consider enrolling and applying for the WIC program. The income eligibility guidelines for this program are much higher, somewhat higher than a number of our others. So many county families who don't qualify for other programs and services through ACAP, if you have young children, may likely qualify for this. Now, all WIC participants will need to switch back to WIC approved formula right now. The target date for that is September 1st. But for now, please do reach out to our WIC program here at ACAP for all of your needs and assistance with formula questions. We can certainly help get those answers for you if we don't have them. And we want to also share with you, we've been talking about this, but this is coming right up. It's going to happen next Monday, July 18th at Collins Pond Park in Caribou between 6 and 8 o'clock. This is a forum for adults and youth to come together to brainstorm ideas and put plans into action for supporting LGBTQ plus youth here in Aroostook County, oftentimes one of the more vulnerable populations, especially as it relates to young people here in Aroostook County. This is a community gathering where both adults and youth can come together. You can learn more about this on Facebook through Pride Aroostook's Facebook presence, or you can email any questions you might have at pridearoostook@gmail.com. But we certainly encourage youth and adults interested in supporting youth across Aroostook County to join in this special gathering of folks to support county youth. Again, July 18th, this coming Monday at Collins Pond Park in Caribou between 6 and 8 p.m. in the evening. We also want to remind folks out there, especially as it relates to youth, that ACAP's career counseling services for youth are available. Our youth services, we have adult services as well, are available to those age 16 through 24. Especially those currently not attending school. So if you're between semesters and aren't enrolled in school yet in the fall, this is a great opportunity for you to connect with a program that can help get you into employment, help get you into educational opportunities, and really help assess what might be in your cards in the future with you. And we can provide, obviously, assistance in doing job shadowing and things of that nature for youth. So we really encourage youth or the adults in their lives who want more information to pass along to them and to discuss with them to give us a call. 554-4137 will get you directly to our workforce development team, or kwilliams@acap-me is the email address to connect to get started on connecting with these services. We're also reminding folks again of the Federal Communications Commission benefit program that really helps ensure that households can afford broadband that they need in their home to be able to access important work, school, healthcare, and other functions. As we continue to sort of adjust as a result of the pandemic, more and more is being done remotely, and we want to make sure, and the Federal Communications Commission wants to make sure that folks have access and connectivity. This provides a discount of up to $30 per month toward internet service for eligible households, and up to $75 per month for those on qualifying tribal lands, of which we have 2 here in Aroostook County, the Micmacs and the Maliseets. Eligible households also can receive a one-time discount of up to $100 to purchase the hardware, that be the laptop, the desktop computer, or tablet, from certain participating providers if they contribute more than $10 and less than $50 toward the purchase price. So we encourage you to visit the FCC's website at fcc.gov to learn more about the Affordable Connectivity Program. It is limited to 1 monthly service discount and 1 device discount per household, but certainly if you are not already accessing this benefit, we encourage you to go find out more about it. This is also the last week of the current season of the Home Energy Assistance Program. We should have information for you in the coming weeks about the income eligibility guidelines, what that might look like. This is last year's, or the end of this season's, eligibility guidelines. Many households are very concerned about the cost, and justifiably so. I think we all are, going into this heating season. If you haven't already applied for the Home Energy Assistance Program, like between last August and today, please do give us a call and get in one of those last-minute appointments this season. Any benefit that you get will go on your fuel vendor account. It'll also automatically get you into the queue for an appointment in the coming season, which again begins later this month. And we make appointments rolling throughout the season. So get into the program and really don't worry about thinking that you're taking the benefit away from somebody else. The program is made so that if you qualify income eligibility wise, that benefit is intended for you and will not be removed from somebody else as a result of you accessing this benefit. So the household size are there on your screen. This is also available on our website. And again, we do anticipate a shift in this as we start a new season with new income eligibility guidelines that will likely be higher. I'm pretty certain will be higher. So also important of note, if you've had a change in your household income in just the last month that may have made your household income in the month of June less than that $2,433 if you're one person in the household, you would now qualify for the Home Energy Assistance Program more than likely. So please do not say just because that you might have come and been over income in the past, if there's been a shift, very recent shift in your income, you may now be eligible. Reach out to us. Our HEAP program line directly is 768-3053. You can also access it through ACAP's main telephone number, 764-3721. And the Maine Home Assistance Fund program that we've been reminding people about is still available and accessible. It's a free federal relief program for homeowners that are financially impacted by COVID-19. This isn't the same as the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And just a heads up, it is more challenging to get into. It really requires you to be having worked with your lender almost to be at the brink of possible foreclosure to make you eligible for this program. If you are challenged at all with paying your mortgage, property tax, or utility bills, I would encourage you to visit the website maine.gov/homeassist, or give us a call here. We have a program associate that is available to help walk you through the application process and talk you through the eligibility guidelines. it's worth checking into, but again, it is very different in terms of the nature of how you qualify than the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and was established that way by the federal government Department of Treasury and the State of Maine Bureau of Consumer Credit Counseling Services. We also want to remind folks that are considering the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. It is starting to wind down. The program is running short on money. They have increased income eligibility guidelines as a result, and those are available and seen there on your screen for Aroostook County households. We do encourage you, if you are renting and you are challenged right now and meet these income qualification guidelines, to consider applying for the ERA program. You can do that directly at mainerentrelief.com. Or you can also do it by calling us at 764-3721, and we can help walk you through an application over the phone. We are also taking applications now for our early Head Start and Head Start programs for this fall. It's a great opportunity to get your children enrolled in programs across Aroostook County that really have evidence-based curriculum and really help children and their families be ready for public school and access things like employment and education and other services available through our more than just a classroom program with Head Start and Early Head Start. In addition to our centers, our existing centers in Caribou, Dyer Brook, Fort Kent, Holton, and Presque Isle, we are adding partnership classrooms this year, this fall in Limestone, additional partnership classrooms in Fort Kent, as well as in Caribou with RSU 39, in Van Buren, a brand new program there for 3-year-olds embedded in their local school district. So if you have children in any of these communities or are regularly commuting to these communities and would like to have your children enrolled in Head Start or Early Head Start, now is a great time to call. Head Start, generally 4-year-olds, some 3-year-olds, and Early Head Start, even pregnant moms can sign up for Early Head Start that would work with them initially and then bring their child into the program shortly after they're born. So we would welcome the opportunity to work with your children and your families through this program. Phone number with questions, 554-4176. The application is available at acap-me.org, and we encourage you again to get that application in as the fall is approaching. We also, in our COVID section today, want to remind folks that COVID vaccines have been approved for children under 5. We really are encouraging folks to discuss this and connect with their pediatric practice about getting your child vaccinated. If you already have an appointment scheduled, the suggestion is that you wait until that appointment happens and have that taken care of at that next well-child appointment, or have that conversation with your pediatrician. But that is something that we wanted to share and pass along with you in terms of those vaccines now being available for children under 5. Aroostook County continues to remain in the low transmission category. Again, if you are interested and in need of a booster or have not gotten vaccinated yet, we're still very much encouraging that. You can go to maine.gov/COVID-19/vaccines to find out where there might be a vaccine location nearest you. And if transportation is an impediment, don't let that be the reason you don't get vaccinated or boosted. You can call the Department of Health and Human Services on the number at the bottom of your screen there, 48 hours in advance of any appointment, and they will make an effort to get you to that appointment with that appreciated notice. And we also are reminding folks that there are still COVID-19 diagnoses in our community, and if you're questioning whether or not you might have COVID or just want to have COVID tests on hand, there are these at-home tests that are available. They have increased the access to them. So if you previously applied, you'd want to check again on covidtest.gov to see if you can have a new set mailed to you if you're again eligible to receive that. There's also accesscovidtest.org if you haven't already gone and used that resource for first-time folks as well. And a reminder that COVID community social supports or community supports are available through ACAP. So if you are diagnosed with COVID-19, asked to isolate or quarantine, we can help with things like grocery and meal delivery. I, matter of fact, just happened to do one last week for a household that was quarantined in Caribou. It's a service that we offer in partnership with the Department of Health and Human Services, Maine Centers for Disease Control. You can either give us a call if you are in this predicament at 764-3721, or go to the DHHS website and you can log in your request right then and there, and they get that request to us, and typically within 24 hours we are getting that service out to you. And lastly, in the section of news and information that you can use this week, is information about any here in this program. You or your family right now, ACAP is here for you, and we encourage you to reach out to us. And ACAP navigators are available at 764-3721. Again, we can network with programs and services out there in the community that are not only part of ACAP, and we appreciate and certainly the opportunity to help you connect with those services. So that's this week's news and information that you can use for the week of the 11th of July, 2022. And I apologize there. I have actually lost my slides on the screen. And so I momentarily had to just unplug my computer and plug it back in. And I apologize for that little glitch, but I'm so glad that I'm now joined by Brandi Perry, who can help me carry the remainder of this broadcast forward, who's my guest today, an ACAP community educator. Brandi, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, so now that we've hopefully gotten the technical gremlins behind us, I'm so pleased to have you back to talk more about our restorative practices, because when we had you on the program a couple of months ago, we talked about some of the work that county restorative practices, you and your colleague Randall, do here in Aroostook County. And we mentioned this work that you do in public schools, the restorative work that you do in public schools. And so we thought we'd have you back to maybe do a little bit more of a conversation about that and what is available and what you do in fact do in partnership with public schools. So let's start there. Talk about the restorative practice work and what it is and how you're making it work here in Aroostook County schools.
All right, so the basis of restorative practices is to help maintain respect and community in life, really. And so what we have offered to schools throughout the county is to come into their classroom and work with the students and the teachers and the staff to help reestablish that positive relationship and the respect, so that by the end of the school year, everyone is leaving happy for summer, but not, sad to see summer go at the same time. So they hopefully are having an enjoyable school experience throughout the whole school year and building those relationships and the friendships so that it's just a little more peaceful in the classroom and the students get the best educational experience that they can.
Brandi, does it look the same at every school district, the work that you do, or is it different?
It is the same in like the broad aspect, but it really very much depends on the students and the teachers' needs and what their goals in the classroom are. So I go in with a whole tool set to use with each classroom, but some classes, they have an issue with behavior and anger management. Another class, they just have an issue with tattling or going to the teacher for minute issues, and then in some cases it's just the students are in need of maybe some character building traits. And so I go in and I meet everyone in that classroom and we set guidelines that that the students get to help develop, not just the adults, so that the students can kind of take some responsibility for their classroom as well, which kind of gives them a little more pride, I guess, for their classroom. And then they feel like they are part of the success and not just failing in their daily classroom lives. And so it really, honestly, I kind of play it by ear whenever I go into the classrooms, because one day I have one thing planned and something else comes up that wasn't an issue the week before or the day before, whenever. And so a lot of times I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants and hope that what I'm saying is beneficial. And so far it seems to be working all right.
Well, and really, Brandi, that's such as the life for all of us these days, and especially for young adults, teenagers, in public schools. Things happen, circumstances happen, both nationally and right there locally in their communities, that I'm sure oftentimes change the dynamics and really require you, as you just said, I mean, more, I would say, thinking on your feet as opposed to flying by the seat of your pants, because I know you're a very thoughtful person. But you do have a wealth of tools in the tool belt, and sort of you and both you and Randy have the background and the training to be able to sort of navigate some of those circumstances that come up as a result of, whether it be, trauma or just challenging things that are happening in the school environment, or even at home, that are brought into the school environment, correct?
Correct, yes. A lot of times, once that trust is built up with the students and the teachers and me, some of those deeper hidden issues come out. And so we learn that students are struggling because, they only have one parent at home, or, they didn't eat breakfast, or they don't have enough food, or one of their parents lost their job. And so now there is that home life that is brought into it that kind of makes us a little more aware, and honestly gives the adults a little more empathy towards the students, because it reminds them that while they are students, they are still tiny humans that struggle with daily life just like we do as adults, but in very different ways. So.
And that really is what's at the basis of the county restorative practices, the student assistance program component of that. Talk about that, because it really sounds like that's what we're circling in on here in terms of the work that's happening in the public schools.
Yeah, so in my time in the public schools doing the restorative practices, it really became abundantly clear that there are a lot of the rural schools in the county. They don't have the same resources as a larger school does. So they don't have as much money coming in, or they don't have the same, I guess, tools for the students to have the best experience. And so what we have done is, well, we started with a SAMHSA training that taught us about a student assistance program, because we weren't aware that it was a thing. And then in our endeavors to learn about what this entails, it's kind of like an IEP on steroids. And it's not just the responsibility of the school to help these students get as many possible resources as they can to make sure they have a positive and successful school career. It also brings the community in to provide some of those services. So for example, one of the resources missing in many of the rural schools here is having a school psychologist or a school social worker. And so a lot of the students that suffer from those behavioral and mental health issues, they don't have someone to work with to help them navigate those hiccups in life. And so they just go through life with anger or with impulse control problems, or different things like that. And so what we do is we work with the local community agencies and ask them, are you willing to provide some services to these students? And the response that we've had thus far has been absolutely fantastic. Our guinea pig for this coming school year is Caswell Elementary School. And we have people from Loring Job Corps, AMHC. We have the Red Cross coming and offering to provide different trainings. And it's great to see that these community members have taken It Takes a Village to Raise a Child to heart, and they are willing to come in and help those students, which also in turn helps the teachers who may be at their wits' end because they don't know how to navigate students that have anger issues or behavioral control issues, you know, and so it'll be a relief for them as well to, you know, be happy when they go into their classroom each day and be excited to teach their students rather than dreading that experience.
It sounds, Brandi, a lot like you're doing almost a whole community approach. We talk about a whole family approach here with the agencies, especially with with young children that we have in our early care and education programs. But it really does sound like you're in through the student assistance program, really wrapping, and in the pilot program you're doing in Caswell, really wrapping a community around a school and the students and families that are served by that school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is really the goal of the student assistance program, is to get the community involved, since the students in that school, they live in that community. And so those community members have to interact with those students and sometimes the teachers on possibly a daily basis when they run into each other at the store or the gas station. And so yes, it is very much a whole community approach, which kind of builds the relationship within the community as well, making it a stronger, more, I don't want to say successful, but a more successful
Resilient.
community. Yeah.
Resilient, I would think. Yeah. Brandi, you talked about piloting this in the Caswell schools, and I know that you're doing county restorative practices work in other schools across Aroostook County. Where are you seeing this in terms of where it's headed in the future? What capacity exists right now to work with additional schools? Sort of help us understand where you're at. So if somebody's viewing this and they're public school official in a local community, and they're saying, gosh, I really want to get us engaged in this. I sort of want to help set and pace expectations around this, and what folks can expect, and how they can become a part of, at least foundationally, accessing some of these services.
Yes. So we are focusing more on the rural schools within the community, which, I mean, it's hard to not be a rural school in Aroostook County. But so far, Caswell, like in that elementary school, there are only 44 or 50 students, so it's very small. I've worked with Ashland a little bit this year. Their school is small as well. So if there is a school that is, I guess some people might consider out in the boonies, that doesn't have all the resources that they see some of the bigger schools with, no offense to Caribou and Presque Isle. But if they see that these schools have something that they would really like, but they just can't afford it, or they don't have the avenue to get it, then we highly encourage them to reach out to us and let us know that they are interested in this. And then once we know that that school is interested in this program, we kind of take the reins and set everything up, because the staff at schools, they are already overloaded with work. We don't want to give them 1, 2, or any number of extra things to do. So we take care of getting the information out to the community. We take care of getting the community members to come together and have that discussion to see what the school needs and wants, and who can provide what resources. There really is not a limit on how big the school has to be to utilize a student assistance program. They're very beneficial for schools that have thousands of students, and very beneficial for schools that have 44 students. So we encourage anyone in Aroostook County that feels like there's just something missing. Maybe the school doesn't realize what they're missing, but having as many options as possible brought to their attention and offered to these schools really takes a big burden off of the staff and the students. And so we are happy to find out what those resources are that are missing that would help the schools.
And what are you finding in the work that you're doing with Caswell right now in terms of the response from the community, the school, the involved parties that you're bringing to the table? Has it been a very positive interaction up until this point?
Yes, it has been very positive. I believe I reached out to, I don't know, between 15 and 20 different agencies or businesses or people to discuss what this would entail. And when we got everyone together, most of the people that I contacted were there to talk with the school staff and to talk with the ACAP employees that were there and discuss what they could offer to fill in the gaps that Caswell is seeing. And so from there, we have, I don't know, I want to say there are 11 community resources available to the students at the elementary school in Caswell for this upcoming school year, which, I mean, I find exciting really, because, you know, the research that has been shown through student assistance programs is that it does help with behavioral health problems. It does help with mental health problems. It does help build that community that might be lacking, and the students and teachers, they have that positive relationship. And there is that trust that the students have an adult that they can trust to talk to about just about anything that might be going on in their lives. And so by having all of these resources available, the atmosphere within schools is a lot more positive. And I'm very excited to see how it works with Caswell specifically this year.
I think it really helps in allowing, I think, teachers to do the important work of what needs to happen in the classroom, and provides that level of community supports and surrounding supports that allow families and children to be more successful. So it sounds like a really exciting program, the Student Assistance Program, and one that I think only shows signs of growing to other public schools in Aroostook County.
Yes, I agree.
What have we not talked about related to either county restorative practices or the Student Assistance Program that you wanted to make sure to get across to folks today, Brandi?
I think what I would like to kind of point out is that for restorative practices to happen, it does not have to be a whole school that agrees to this. If a principal or a teacher says, hey, this classroom is really struggling, can you come in? I am willing to come in and work with just one classroom. Or if a school has plenty of students coming in on a daily or weekly basis for suspensions or maybe detentions, then that is also something that I am happy to come in and work with the school on to figure out where there might be some opportunities for restorative practices to come into place so that the students are not being sent to the principal's office quite so often. And then for the Student Assistance Program, we really want people to know that there are resources out there, whether it's funding resources or community members coming in and providing services. There are so many opportunities to help benefit each school, and it is not a burden on us to help each school do that. So please reach out to us so that the teachers can go back to having fun in their classroom instead of worrying or stressing about whatever might happen.
Absolutely, good point. So and that can be a restorative practice in sort of opportunity in schools. Can it be a one-time thing, or is it better recommended that it's sort of an ongoing thing? What does it typically look like, or sort of dose and duration about it?
So typically it is a more prolonged time together. If it is something like we do with the Department of Corrections, where we help a student restore their place in the community because they've caused harm, I mean, we are absolutely willing to do that in acts of, say, vandalism or behavior issues or fights that break out. Like, we're happy to hold circles for those people involved. If if a school or a classroom is looking for kind of an atmospheric change, then that's going to take longer than just 1 or 2 sessions together. And so I generally suggest once a week, and it can vary between 30 minutes to an hour per session, depending on the age group or the attention span of the students and teachers involved. And then, I mean, I went to a few different schools this year only for a couple of months, and there was a change in the relationship in the classroom. And then there were classrooms that I was in for the whole school year, and there were changes, but not quite as drastic as others. So again, it depends on the school and the classroom that determines the length of time that I go in and I bother everyone.
Well, I'm sure it's not considered a bother at all, because my next question for you was going to be, what have you heard in terms of feedback from the difference made of you engaging and doing the classroom-wide or even school-wide restorative practice work?
I did hear from one school. They have changed how they respond to harm that is caused in the school, and they've seen a positive change. Students were not suspended or put into detention quite as much, but they also got a chance to sit down and talk about what happened and why they did what they did. And in doing that, it has reduced some of those behavioral problems that are happening in the classroom. And so the principals and the adults that I'm working with, they have said that they've seen students talk about disagreements instead of immediately lashing out. And so students are learning how to say, when you do this, this is how I feel, I need you to stop, instead of saying, oh, you're going to do this, I'm going to punch you in the face. So there has been a reduction in the more severe behaviors, which is nice. But it's also nice to see that instead of going immediately to a punitive discipline, you know, instead of saying you're in detention, you're being suspended, you have to do these things to make up for what you've done, the principal and the teacher and the students sit down and they talk about it. And then there is kind of a plan put into place. What can you do in the future? The next time you feel this way, what can you do instead of doing this? And the nice thing about it is the student is given that opportunity to say, well, next time I can try this, instead of the teacher or the adult saying, this is what you need to do. Because I don't know about you, but when people tell me what I have to do, I kind of don't want to do that. And so it gets the student thinking about consequences and that chain reaction from, when this happens to me, this is how I react. It gets them to stop and think about it, so that they realize that there is a better response than name calling or punching or shoving or whatever. And so that kind of goes into their toolbox for the rest of their life. Instead of just immediately getting upset, they just talk about it and have a respectful conversation and handle the situation just right there on the spot. And oftentimes the people involved can leave as friends.
I was going to just say, and I think you said it as well, skills that would last them well into adulthood and through their lives. So indeed. Okay, so before we end this program, Brandi, just one last check-in with you. Anything else that we want to make sure that folks know?
I don't think so.
But they can certainly reach out to you, right? If they have any questions about anything that you've talked about, or are interested in either restorative practices or maybe starting a conversation about student assistance at their school, you'd be the right person to contact.
Absolutely.
Great. Give us your contact information for folks out there.
Yes, sure. My email address is bperry@acap-me.org. And then I also have a phone number. It is 768-0198. And that's my direct line. So I will get any messages that are left on that phone.
Wonderful. All right. Well, Brandi Perry, thank you so much for talking with me about this fascinating subject. And as we're kind of in the summer session right now, and educators are sort of refreshing and recharging their batteries, thinking about how they can do things better, differently in the fall when they return to school. Certainly this would be a wonderful set of tools to have in their tool belt, whether it's restorative practices, student assistance, or a combination thereof. Sounds like a great opportunity to connect with more school districts as we head into the fall. Well, thank you so much. And before we leave all of you out there, one last thing is we do at each point before leaving you in the broadcast, we give you our photo of the week. And all this year with our 50th anniversary here at ACAP, we've been giving you our throwback snapshot of the week. And this throwback snapshot of the week takes us back to 1979. It's not an exciting picture, but it's a picture of an outside of a building. It was ACAP's Employment and Training Building on Dyer Street in Presque Isle, again, circa 1979. This was back in the day before ACAP had the 771 Main Street facility that came about actually 2 decades later than this picture was taken, and consolidated a number of services from ACAP into that one building, as opposed to across the city of Presque Isle. And in other locations throughout Aroostook County. We, of course, still have facilities in Madawaska and Fort Kent and Caribou and Holton, and embedded in many public schools across Aroostook County. But this, again, and I do hear members of our workforce development team, which is what it's called today, do talk about good times and fun times in this building on Dyer Street. So a nod and throwback to our employment and training days of the past on Dyer Street in Presque Isle. And lastly, in this Potato Blossom Festival week, we encourage all of you to get out there and enjoy the beauty of the rolling hills of Aroostook County in full bloom, and enjoy the many events. And we hope to see you out on the street in Fort Fairfield at the Potato Blossom Festival, at one of the many events. Until then, we will see you at the Potato Blossom Festival. If not, we'll see you back next week for another edition of ACAP Today. Have a great week and weekend, everyone.